Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happenings today. We have two-in-one news to render. One has to do with the fact that in Enugu State, while other Nigerians are, especially in the southern part of Nigeria, are having a swell time over the issue of festive season, but the residents of Enugu are not finding it funny at all. They are struggling with a lot of things, and of course, in another news, Nigerians are actually in for a road shock on what may likely happen to them come 2022. Plans are on ground, and Nigerians are wondering what's the way forward. Before we go into the news proper, like and subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you see bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, according to the first news, Enugu residents are actually going through a lot. Chukuma Oji, a resident of Ogoin New Layout and teacher in one of the schools in the Enugu metropolis, now goes to big hotels and banks every day to answer nature's call because of the unavailability of water in his neighborhood to clean toilets in his apartment. Oji now takes his bath once in 3 days because he could no longer afford 400 naira every day to buy 2 bags of sachet water at 200 naira per bag for his daily bathing. Indeed, water scarcity has been a major social problem in Enugu State, especially the Enugu metropolis over the years. According to Oji, for the past 2 months or thereabouts, the State Water Corporation has not supplied water to the area, adding that wells which he and other residents of the area rely on for alternative water supply have dried up because of dry season the state is witnessing currently. In 2 weeks, we have had no water, and since then I have been hoping that the tap will rush. Before, if there was no tap water, I used to buy water from a well for 15 naira to bath and flush the toilet. But wells have dried up, and wells that have water, before it gets to your turn, you will spend about 2 to 3 hours to fetch a gallon or 2. Now, since last week, that well has not been open for the public. It is now restricted to the owners because the water in the well has gone down drastically. Narrating how excruciating to source water for his domestic use, he said, now, other people that have well have increased the price of gallon to 50 naira per gallon, and the queue there equally is troubling. And before you know it, after about 50 gallons have been fetched, it will finish, and you won't get water from that until the following day. And if you don't get there before 5:30 a.m., you won't get water now. You won't get water. Now, I don't even have big tank that I could buy water from. Now, this is really sad. In another news, very quickly, Nigerians are beginning to wonder what is the challenge. Well, the federal government have decided to do this ahead of 2023. The federal government hopes to push its public debt stock to 50.22 trillion naira by 2023, with domestic debt at 28.75 trillion naira and external debt at 21.47 trillion naira. This is according to the projections in the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025. The Debt Management Office has disclosed that Nigeria's public debt was 38 trillion naira as of the end of the third quarter of 2021, with the total debt stock rising by 2.540 trillion in 3 months from July to September 2021. This shows that the regime of the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, plans to accumulate about 12 trillion naira debt in 2 years from 2021 to 2023. However, based on the plan, the government targets a reduction in total public debt by 2025. A tabular illustration in the document showed that the government targets 39.559 trillion debt stock for 2021, 46.63 trillion naira for 2022, and 50.22 trillion naira for 2023. 50.53 trillion naira for 2024 and 45.96 trillion naira by 2025. The government also discloses that it needs money to finance a plan of 348.1 trillion naira, and the borrowing framework in the plan is 45% each for both foreign and domestic borrowing. The plan read in part, the plan will require an investment of about 348.1 trillion naira to achieve the plan objectives within the period of 2021 to 2025. it is estimated that the government capital expenditure during the period will be 49.7 trillion, which is 14%, while the balance of 298.3 trillion, 86%, will be incurred by private sector. Of the 14%, government contribution, which is FGN capital expenditure, will be 229.6 trillion, which is 9%, while the subnational government capital will be the other. The borrowing framework in the plan is 45% each for both foreign and domestic borrowing, while the other financing sources account for 10%. Domestic bonds and consensual external loan financing, amongst others, will account for the borrowing strategies for the plan. Thus, the government will improve on current debt management strategies to ensure sustainability. Nigerians are in for a very fine shock. It's not even just 2021 alone. They are moving from 2021 to 2022. They've even budgeted how they will borrow. Stock buying, they moved, then there will also be the one of 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. Recurrent expenditure is also there, paying of salaries are also there. But the question now is, now that we are borrowing, they say they want to invest. I hope we will not be having the issue of corruption and looting, because it makes, in fact, it's more harm than good. If they will borrow and it will be, looted out, with corruption hanging everywhere. If that will be the fate of Nigeria, then Nigeria is in for a very huge shock. Because if they can borrow those monies and truly invest, now whatever they're investing in, let it be that it is not a white elephant project where you start up a thing, the next successive government cannot even continue. It was probably an avenue to just retire some money. Just some recent past, the Senate have been calling out for some key principal officers to explain how some of the budgets and the money given to them, how they should retire it, or how was it expended. They wanted evidences, documentation to back up some of the plans, some of the outline given when the money was released. Now you now begin to see that we have a situation in our hands. If truly, genuinely, there are let down budgets or let down projects to be done, and some unscrupulous individuals are waiting on the corner at the sidelines to see how they can siphon or through corrupt practices, divert some of the funds. We are shooting ourselves in the leg, because the truth of the matter is those loans will be paid. They are not free monies anywhere. They are collective monies into our future. If they are not properly expended, those loans plus the repayment schedule and all the, right now maybe we are enjoying moratorium. For how long are we going to enjoy moratorium if some of those monies being borrowed are not properly utilized? Then Nigeria is in serious trouble, because by the time all those repayment schedule will start dropping in all those, both external and internal, the revenue we generate will not even be enough to service the loans. How much more to take care of a current expenditure? How much more the internal security? Nigerians, we need to start thinking out of the box, and let's hope that genuinely there's investment going on, or else we are actually sitting on a timetable that will ask us what did we do with our past. That's what we're going to wrap it up. Let's put it in that comment.